So I just came across a video by Globe Skeptic, where he found something quite amazing. Now, I had to think about this a couple of times before it made sense, because basically what he found is that when you change the time of the time on your computer, the ISS live tracker changes the position of where the ISS is on the map. Now, at first I thought, okay, so you put your clock forward 1 hour and it shows you where it's meant to be, right? Or where it will be. But a tracker should not rely whatsoever on the time of the device that it's been accessed from, being accessed from. So if the clock on my computer is wrong, then I'll see the position of the ISS in the wrong place. So a tracker is just meant to send you a live feed of where the ISS is. And we're going to see in this instant that it doesn't do that at all. Now, Globe Skeptic, I'll put a link to his video below. He'll show you how changing the time on the computer affects the live ISS tracker. And I'm going to show you, I thought I'd try it on my iPad. So this one here is the most downloaded ISS spotting app, right? So we're going to open it. So it immediately asks me if I want to share my location, right? So we're going to say yes. Now, so here it is. You can see I can't move the map, but you can see where it is and how fast it's moving. So I'm going to go over here and change the time. And I'm going to go forward, say 2 hours, right? And then go back. And it's in a completely different position. So this proves that these are not trackers. They just take your location and time and give you either prediction or just something bogus, which in my opinion is a lie, because if you're being told that this is a live ISS tracker, then it shouldn't have to have anything to do with your time, the time on your device. So great find, Globe Skeptic. We're gonna put the link below. Alright, the earth is flat. Take care, guys.
up to the icy hazards and the storms of the Northwest Passage, which...
Now, I'm not claiming to be smart here or anything, but who's filming this? Who is filming this scene?
What do you think it is, Jack? I think it's just flux. I can't really tell.
Breakdowns had become commonplace.
So we had to have some other form of craft. So we got on by Morse code to Ginny to try and get us a Boston whaler, which would be fiberglass and tough enough for the ice and the storms ahead.
So just like that, you just basically snap your fingers and you get a replacement boat. That's really cool. So now they're driving the replacement boat that came out of thin air.
We had storms, we had whiteouts.
Oh, here they are struggling through the ice pack. It's going to be tough to get through there. How is the person filming it? Who is this dog? Why is the dog there? Where was the dog a second ago? And how did the person get through? Who's taping this? Who is this person? Did they already get... Who is taping them from the shore already? I thought they're just getting there. This is a movie. This is not real.
Then had to trek over the unmapped mountains of Ellesmere Island. And that is when I really realized the true courage of Charlie.
I mean, come on, for real. Why is this cameraman doing just fine? This is so fake. These guys are acting like they're dying, but the cameraman, he's just fine. It's easy to carry camera through the mountains.
I cracked my head up and I realized that there was a possibility of doing ourselves a considerable bit of damage. I've been dreading this part for about 6 years now. Ever since I knew we had to walk up Ellesmere Land. My feet, in fact my legs, are not the strongest. For the simple reason that I've damaged them too often over 38 years. I was scared.
I mean, look how far ahead the cameraman is. These guys are taking too long. This guy's getting a running head start or something. Now, pay attention here when he looks at the tent. You got the cameraman, you've got one of the explorers, you got the other one near the tent. Then watch the left side of the tent on the bottom. Did you see that? That guy's already got company.
They have come 150 miles so far. Between them and the pole, 350 more. But with detours, perhaps 500.
Does anybody know where they got these snowmobiles from? Is that what they were carrying on their backs? Do they have snowmobile rental shops up near the North Pole? I'm confused. And these guys are just mowing through. Cameraman's already in front of them. So who brought him in front of them and then went back? Here comes this guy. Woo! Okay. Now it's over. Can't get any faker than that. I mean, look at this nonsense again. Oh yeah, that was on accident. Go ahead and jump in the river there. This just in, one of the actors pretending to do a polar expedition have faken fallen into a river, causing hours of backup on their North Pole trip.
Only puts Transglobe in the headlines.
They're now 340 miles from the North Pole.
By the time we eventually got near to the North Pole, we were definitely getting a bit weird.
They're fatigued and peculiarly lightheaded.
Now maybe it's just me, but I would ask the cameraman, excuse me sir, how are your feet not being frozen like mine? How are you able to get through this just fine, but I'm acting like I'm dying over here? I'm pretty sure whatever shoes you're wearing are what I should be wearing, so that I have feeling in my feet like you clearly do. You don't seem to be bothered by any of this. Oh, sweet. I'm so happy they had the speedy oil change and tune-up up here, so I was able to get my wrecked snowmobile fixed. And, oh, I just go over 4-foot gaps, too, like they're nothing. With the cameraman standing right there, filming it perfectly. It's crazy how crazy these north-south circumnavigations can get. You just never know what surprises around the corner. Sometimes you get a new boat, sometimes you get snowmobiles, sometimes you have a regular phone to use. Sometimes the cameraman pans like it's a cinematic scene. It's all very impressive.
But we're here. Only a jumble of fractured ice marks the top of the world. And within a few days, the Union Jack will have drifted miles away with the ever-moving floe. While the moment may be transitory, its meaning is not. Rand Fiennes and Charlie Burton have become the first men ever to reach both poles the hard way.
So we got 2 guys in the record books. What about the cameraman? He doesn't count? Chump change? Alright, they finally made it. They left the snowmobiles, I don't know, back there somewhere. They don't need them anymore.
We've been called
They made it.
but one isn't
They've done it.
lucky when facing nature
First ones ever.
extreme and getting through in one piece.
Unbelievable.
I don't think nature is comprised solely.
No, I meant that. Like, this bullshit is unbelievable.
She could and did. Bless her.
Oh, and look who's there with him. Prince Charles. Ain't that cute. Way to go, guys. You're awesome. So, on a globe, we know how easy it would be to simply do a north-south circumnavigation going over both poles. Should be as easy as going east-west. So, we either will have a ton of north-south circumnavigations, or we will have a few weird stories and trips, and maybe some failed attempts, because on a flat Earth map, north-south circumnavigation is impossible. So again, if we live on a globe, we should be seeing a lot of north-south navigations, circumnavigations, and if we live on a flat Earth, we would see a lot of things like this picture shows. Imagine you start at that white dot there somewhere on the east coast of the United States and travel down to the tip of South America. You would then travel from there out to wherever the 90-degree marker was, and you'd have to turn around and come back. You see that line coming right back to the Mexico area, and then up to the North Pole, and then ending back where you started. Alright, so should we expect to see no claims for north-south navigation? Well, remember, it is a deception. So we're going to have to dig a bit deeper. They don't just hand you the truth. They are happy to teach you lies in public schools and show you propaganda and TV and newspapers. But for truth, we're going to have to actually step out of our comfort zone. So let's look at some recent claims. First, we have the Guinness record holder and the Guinness Greatest Living Explorer, Sir Ranulph Fiennes. He goes by the name of Ran. One of the things he did was a 3-year trip to circumnavigate the Earth north-south. And are we dealing with some just regular guy? Or are we dealing with Sir Ranulph Twistleton Wexara Fiennes, the 3rd Baronet OBE? He was in the British Army for 8 years. He inherited his father's baronetcy, whatever the hell that means. Some ridiculous nonsense, I'm sure. He's also cousins to Queen Elizabeth. So you don't have to look too far to see what kind of guy we are dealing with here. And a recent Telegraph article tells us that Sir Ranulph was in court recently because he was accused by Natalie Harrison of faking injuries to make his expedition seem more risky and exciting. And Natalie, she actually got hurt the second time she fell into a crevice on purpose. And you see him here with a ladder. I don't know who's carrying that for him while he's on these little journeys, but oh, by the way, since Harrison agreed to go along with the 2 fake stunts, she got 0. In fact, she was ordered to pay Sir Ranulph Fakes-A-Lot $50,000 to pay for his lawyer fees, because the judge actually said that it was her choice to go ahead and agree with his idea of faking accidents. He is, of course, a Freemason, a member of the Belvedere Lodge number 503. Of course, it runs in the family. But now let's take a look at this 1979 to 1982 Trans-Globe Expedition, the North-South Pole Circumnavigation. Yeah, right.
No one has ever done that! No one has ever done that in the history of Dota!
So let's take a look if there's any discrepancies that might lead us to believe that maybe this is some, I don't know, horseshit. It looks like 52,000 miles, it says here, in total was covered during this Trans-Globe Expedition. Again, north-south navigation, 25,000 mile circumference, yet 52,000 mile trip. And we can note that it says it was such a huge challenge no one has ever repeated the route. So now let's look at the Guinness Book of Fakery. According to this, we've got 35,000 miles. Okay, well, that's a little different. And this is the Guinness Book of World Records page. This is the Trans-Globe ship that actually he used to travel up and down the globe, I guess. They also had an interesting apparatus here. This is the Trans-Globe Expedition, the plane. So even though they're supposed to be doing surface navigation, who knows what they actually did. Let's see here. This is the actual homepage for Saran, the expedition. Oh, now it's a 100,000-mile route.
You lie to me. You make an excuse.
So they've now jumped from 35 to 52 to 100,000 miles, all talking about the exact same trip. I mean, the question is, how can you be off by 70,000 miles? That's like 3 times around the globe. Can we not figure out how many miles we went on a trip? It's not that hard. Oh boy. Here we have another page that also claims that it was 100,000 miles, which is just ridiculous. Why would it ever take somebody 4 times the distance of the circumference of the Earth to go the circumference of the Earth? I mean, did he forget his car keys and have to go back home? He was at the North Pole, he had to go all the way to the South Pole, then come all the way back and then do that twice? Doesn't make any sense. I can't take it. So now we're looking at a little PDF flyer they had from around that time that says Around the World the Long Hard Way, which if it's 25,000 miles and you're going 100,000 miles, then you definitely went the long hard way. And just reading in here, you'll see that there's all kinds of things going on. People are dropping off snowmobiles, picking up food, taking planes over here, boats over here. There's people all over the place. Whole thing is a disaster. Oh, did I mention it's also a lie? One interesting thing I did find in this article that it says that there are only 5 pages in Rand's book about the time that he was at the South Pole, and there are no photos. So whenever you're doing a cross Antarctica expedition where you have to go through the South Pole, it's definitely good to take no pictures at the South Pole. That's the way to verify exactly what you say you did. Speaking of Antarctica, there was another interesting thing I found that when you apply to go down there for whatever reason, take pictures, to go work as a scientist or whatever, you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. If you guys know what that's like, it's like somebody's giving you secrets about a certain product or a new TV show, and you're not allowed to say anything. So what's going on down in Antarctica that you might see while you're down there that you're not allowed to say anything, besides Sir Richard Fakes-A-Lot faking another expedition? Let's talk about some other people who have also gone north-south circumnavigation and see if they match the flat model or the globe model. This is the owner of the current record for a single plane being flown north-south pole circumnavigation. You can look up ZQ Pilot. Let's take a look at his path. You'll see here the white path was the intended path. The red path is his actual path. So he went down to the tip of South America, bounced out to the 90-degree marker, and then turned around and went right back where he came from, then jumped from South America all the way to Australia, Australia to Hawaii, to California, to Alaska, to the North Pole, back home to North Carolina, and he has the record for circumnavigation. Did he circumnavigate? I don't think so, Tim. Alright, now we're looking at a helicopter named Polar First as they attempted their record-setting helicopter flight pole-to-pole circumnavigation on December 5th, 2006, but they got down to the South Pole and crashed their helicopter. So in 2007 they attempted it again, and this time they did it according to the rules and regulations, not according to me, because what they did is went down to the South Pole, touched the 90-degree marker, and it says here they retraced their steps north with a stop at their 2003 crash site. They then crossed to the Drake and then to Ushuaia. Then they continued through South America. Then they went up the west coast of the US with stops in Alaska and Canada, reaching the North Pole on 20th of April via Eureka. And from there they headed south, retracing the northern part of the route and then hitting the east coast, Montreal, then New York. So if you can't see what's going on here, we have basically no circumnavigations north-south. The ones that we do have are like liners, or I don't know if you remember in gym having to do suicides or whatever they were called. That's basically what they're doing. They're running to the pole, touching it, and coming right back. That is not circumnavigation. It makes no sense on a globe. Do we only fly planes to London and then they have to come right back? They're not allowed to go past that? Of course not, right? Hopefully you're starting to see the writing on the ball, which says, "I'm fake."
know neon for its use in lighted signs, but in fact all of the noble gases glow when they are bombarded with electrons.
I remember when I lost my mind. There's something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have so much space. Ooh. And when you're out there without care, was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. Just knew too much. That made me crazy. That made me crazy. That made me crazy. Love that you have in time of your life. Think twice. It's my only advice. Come on now. Who do you think you are? Ah, bless your soul. You really think you're in control? Well, I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. Just like me. My heroes had the heart to lose their lives out on a limb. Oh, remember, stinking Ever since I was little, ever since I was little.